Good morning. This is the last of our West Texas foliage training block. This is the third video, and we're going to concentrate on some heavier grass, some field grass, and how to carve a little Gila monster. Okay, so we're going to look at how to add some good size clumps of grass, not just a little, but a good size clump. Here's just like some tufts, but building up a little area is what I'm talking about. And I take some scenic glue. That's what I like to use, and it's not thinned at all. You need the thickness. I tried thinning it once, and it really messed it up. Over time, some of these will bunch up, and I don't want that. So I gotta keep breaking them up. It's like the liquid will seep up them and then bring them together. So I'm just gonna put that down right now. Now, the problem is this. If I try to put this down, it's not going to stick properly. I need to flatten that end. So I just use this little beard trimmer. Now I'm not going to do all this. This is way too much. But I'm going to do this much. And first off, I'm going to cut it in half. I don't want it that tall. See that? I've got that flat bundle right there. That will go into the glue really, really nicely. And the other end is still, varied and stuff like that, which is what I want. But because that end is flat, it's going to go and stick in the glue. So here's the deal. I want to get really close here because when I'm putting this in the glue, I'm kind of rotating it. So I get it into the glue there, and now I kind of do this. And what I'm doing there is making sure that all those fibers are making proper contact with the glue. I'm doing the same thing here. I'm gathering these guys up. This time, I'm going to cut this side. So once I got them gathered up, get this on camera. This thing is awfully loud. And it's so quick and easy to get it cut real nice. Then I just come in like this. I might want to put a little bit more glue. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in there just like before, kind of make a little circular motion. Make sure it's in there. And I'll just raise it up, just like that. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to do this prematurely because I would let this sit for a good 10, 15 minutes. And I kind of come back and check on it. And when I'm checking on it, what I'm doing is I'm taking something like this. This is a stylus. Now, this one's it's kind of got glue on it, so I don't want to use that one. I need one that's a little bit smoother, because you don't want anything to catch. If you catch on these fibers, you'll pull them and do all kinds of weird stuff. And I don't want to do that, so I'm going to tip this to the side. And what I would do to check is just see how easily these are moving. I don't want them to move too easily. These are fully glued, of course, and so they're not going to move. But what I want to do is, when the glue sets up a little bit, I want to be able to come down in here and I just push straight down from the top, and it has them kind of move apart, and it does it in a natural fashion. See, right now it's not dried enough, but that's what I want to do to kind of get it to spread out. Don't go in and try to do this. You make them fall over. If you come in from the top, it kind of pushes it back into the glue, but it separates it very slowly and gives you this kind of separation that looks like, grasses when they grow, they kind of go up and out. So that is the technique. Again, waiting is better. I'm going to show a side view here of this so you can see. See, that's a real nice I mean, it's tipping over, but that's okay. I can bring it back up. But you see, that way it's much more spread out. We'll just use the little poker again. Much more spread out. And maybe I'll just stop, let this set up, and then come back and show you. That's probably the better idea because it does look real nice. Then after it is set up and I've got this all, then we come back with this guy and shave it. So that's where we can do here. So I'm going to take my camera and move it. So now I got the camera set at a low angle because I want to try to show you how to trim, how I trim this stuff. And so, again, if I go in from the side or something like that, it's going to catch, it's going to shave it off. It's just going to be, just like you saw me doing the bottom, it's just going to be this flat, like a crew cut. You don't want that. What you want to do is come in from the top, and I'm going to be stabbing straight down into these. Sometimes I'll move it like this and stuff like that. But what that does is it allows me to get a varied clip. And so it doesn't look so cultured or I don't know, fake. I don't know. So watch this. So that's how tall they are right now. And I guess if I had a better background, it'd be better, but hopefully this will work. Okay, so now you might say, oh man, you just got rid of all your grass. Well, let's kind of blow it off a little bit. Not really, because the things that we forget are, in scale, your grass isn't going to be that gosh darn tall. I'm looking for a figure here. Hold on. Here's my little figure that I use. Now think about it. Is grass like this? You know, yeah, sure. I was in grass like that in Panama, but that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about like field grass. So field grass up to your knees is pretty tall grass. So I want to even go down a little more. So that's great. Those are great tufts of grass. I like those. They give the impression of tufts, ground tufts of grass, weeds, whatever. And they shouldn't be, you know, too tall. Yes, you have fields of grass, and I've got a friend online that does amazing stuff, Jerry Ruttman, that does amazing grasses. Now, I haven't talked to him about his techniques. Honestly, I should do that because he really is good. But this is the method that I use, and I'm pretty happy with it. You know, you have to tend it. It's not a set and forget. I still need to do work on these as they dry, and it's a timing issue. You know, I can't come back a half an hour later and think I can do anything with them. It'll be set, and you're done at that point. It's going to be 10-minute increment, 15. You know, come back and see when it's ready, and then again, there's more of this where I'm spreading it out and I'm making it look like it's a little bit more that proper growth pattern that comes up. I probably even want to close this up. See, there's that gap between the two. I'll close that up a little bit. Twist these guys together. Okay, take a look at it later. This is all dry, and you can kind of see what I was saying before, where I wanted to have the grass kind of come up and then lay out. It'll literally stay straight up and down if you let it, if you put it in that thick glue. You know, and again, no thin glue. That doesn't work, because the thin glue draws it together, because it works up the stalks and then draws the fibers together. So keep it the thick glue. But then I just press down from the top, and that kind of, you know, draws them apart. You don't, like I had my first stylus, you don't want to get in there with like a bunch of glue on it, because what it does is it'll catch and it'll pull your fibers out of the wet glue. So be really careful of that. So now it needs to be cut. Now, do I put this long? No, I just did that for you know, filming and stuff. But I will do like half of that. You know, I'll do about that high, And I know that anything that comes off, I can gather up and put back in. So it's not like I'm wasting it. But now we do need to trim it. Now, I thought about, because I'm editing now the first stuff I shot about this, you know, while it was drying. And I thought, you know, well, what if somebody doesn't have an old beard trimmer? You know, this is not my one that I use today, but it's an older one, you know, and it's super loud and kind of rickety. And, you know, that's one of the reasons I'm not using it anymore. But if you're just doing this with scissors, you can do that too. Now, these are really nice. These are like the, you know, titanium or something like that. I mean, they're just a nice pair of scissors. It's not like expensive or anything like that. You just buy them at the dime store. But these are the same thing, but you still want to try to do this kind of a thing. So I'm going to come in and I'm cutting straight down. Because they're angled, I'm cutting, but I'm not cutting everything, you know. I'm cutting in a random kind of pattern so that I can have longer and shorter, and I might want to even angle it so that I'm following the stalks so I don't have these. See, that's a little bit, you know, a tuft like that. It's not good. So I want to kind of come in like this. But I think that you can do a fair job just cutting straight down with scissors, because it'll, you know, take out these clumps and stuff, just like the power trimmer. I was trying to concentrate. It's just like, well, am I supposed to be talking? I think so. So anyway, now when I get about the height that I want, and I'll do a little bit higher this time, and that's what I was doing, you know, this is something where you're going to have, you know, this one where it's really, really low. I think you're going to have that in populated areas, sides of the road, stuff like that. But further off the road, in fields and stuff, yeah, you can get stuff to, I'd say, mid-thigh, okay? Don't go crazy. I mean, over the hip and stuff like that, that's for, like, you know, where it's cultivated. You know, I rarely go through grass that's more than about, you know, mid that. Parts of the country, different, whatever, yeah, sure. But it's usually not that high. So now I've got about as high I want to go, and some that are going to get a little bit, you know, like spiky. But the majority of it, I'm going to kind of cut down now. And I'm going in really careful. One of the things that I figured out here is if I do this, I'm just going to shear that off. So I'm trying to come in here at the angle that those particular ones are at, so I don't cut the whole thing off, because I do want a varied pattern with my grass. The other thing is throw some other stuff in at the base to show that the base is like grown up through stuff that's on the ground. So there you go. That's, now that maybe looks like a punk rocker's haircut, but hold on. I don't want the whole thing to be so high. I want this to be lower over here, like it's not quite as matured. This kind of thins it this way too. So that, I think, looks pretty good. Now I'm going to get rid of some of these fibers. Like I said, when I tap those out, I've got a container that I have that I put all that stuff in. So look at that. There's where we are with the grass, and maybe I can even get a little closer. Well, I can zoom in. How about them apples? And I don't think that's bad for, and I would consider that tall grass. You know, it's up to high thigh, gee, Merry Christmas. It's up to, you know, mid-thigh height. And I think it's denser down below. Of course, you need some supporting stuff around here. That's where we did that low ground cover and stuff like that, you know. You also need some rocks, like over here. You know, you want to put that in amongst this little pile of boulders. This is another example that we showed earlier in the classes. So, you know, use your imagination, but I think that one of the things that I see, and it's not that they don't exist, but one of the things I see on the stuff that you buy, you've got this perfect little mound, you know, of grass. It's a tuft of grass, and you can peel it off the sheet and set it down. Those are great, but, you know, and leave one or two of those out in your field or wherever you're putting your stuff, but have some that are kind of jacked up. You know, not everything is perfect, and I think not having things perfect is kind of a more of a nod, you know, to the realism that I'm striving for. You know, my stuff's not realistic as I want it, and I'm working toward that. So, but this is one of those things that will help get you there. Next, we are going to be looking at how to make a Gila monster. It's time to take this little guy off here, and I have not tried to take him off yet. Again, what this is green stuff, and it's on this glass. The glass wasn't particularly clean because I use it for all kinds of other putty, so there was like, you know, there's a little bit of residue you kind of see on there. So I'm hoping that's going to help it just pop off, but I don't know if those little legs are just going to go flying, so I'm a little bit nervous here, but we're going to give it a shot. Please just pop off. I'm giving it a fair amount of pressure here, and I got nothing. Okay, I don't know if I should come at it, if I should come at it from the legs or not. I'm gonna try the head. See, this is super old green stuff too, so it's not even fully cured. It's 2 days old, and it's still somewhat flexible. Oh, now Ghost is at my feet. This is a little bit more tedious than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, there's no popping off happening anywhere here. Oh, there we go. It's not. There we go. Okay, there he is. There is our little guy. I probably need to paint him on the other underside. Yeah, see, I didn't do any painting. But he is going to go right in here. So he will go right down in there after I paint him. and I think he's going to look awesome. Let me see if I can redo this. So from like back over here, that whole thing I was talking about in my live stream yesterday was, you know, I don't necessarily want what I put in here, these little special things, to be seen right away. I want them to be hard to be seen, and that's it. See, he's back there, and so if somebody really starts looking, and then they really start seeing, like from this angle, and then they maybe, you know, go around the other side, then you see our little heel monster. So I just love those little things. So anyway, I hope this wasn't a horrible video. I'm sorry, but I just didn't know how that was going to come off there, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to share it with you.